Welcome back to Expediting Change. I appreciate all the love I've been getting on the podcast. For me, Expediting Change in this podcast was really art for me. It was just me putting information out in the air, and the overwhelming response that I got was completely love. I sincerely appreciate it, and I'm going to continue doing it because we want equity now.
The game is in trouble, I've been in my depth for the piece of the puzzle, I got it for real. Still keep me going, I wake up and hustle, you won't see me buckle, I've been in the field. Man of the town, you been in your fields, I'm adjusting this crown. Call me your majesty, either that or your tragedy. We shutting everything down. I've been high like somebody put a candle on them. Off top, I don't really stand opponents, this mine, the moment is run out.
Welcome back to Expediting Change. I believe it's season 3, but my production team controls all of that fun stuff. It has been amazing. We're doing so much for financial education. I'm actually home in Buffalo, New York right now because tomorrow I'm doing the Financial Education Summit as the keynote speaker, and 2 of my teams are presenting workshops about financial education. My word is my bond, man. Wu-Tang said you walk the walk if only Negroes are outlined in chalk. So what I say, my word is my bond. But today, I have a really special guest here that we go way back. We may laugh, we may argue. He's probably going to fire some shots, and I might fire some as well. But just know it's all about good, love, conversations about financial education for the culture. We're not doing this capitalism, socialism, I hate rich people thing. We're doing this, how do we learn to put tools in our tool belt for liberation, for freedom, because money is the tool that gets us there. So today I have my guy with me. Man, what's good with you, man? You want to tell the people who you be?
Quinton Smith, lifelong Buffalo resident, owner of Deco Lounge, proud alpha.
Okay.
That's me.
What else?
Own a real estate company. We do development. We do a little bit of everything.
God-fearing man.
100%. Husband, father.
Been high graduate.
Been high graduate.
Come on, man. We go way back.
Botillion graduate.
Yay, bo. People don't know what we talking about. Some people know what we talking about.
Right.
How you feel today, man?
I'm very well. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, man, we go back, man.
Right.
I am a man of my word, and I believe a rising tide raises all ships. I don't believe in that. I got to a place and my individuals who I was around don't come with me, or I come with them, however you want to say it. So I appreciate you being on, and I'm a pull on your real estate experience because I want to talk about real estate. The one thing that I jumping right into it that I say to individuals when we talk about demystifying the stock market is the culture typically goes into real estate because it's a tangible asset, as opposed to going into the stock market. But tell me, what was your why? What got you into the real estate game?
The first thing that got me in the real estate game was I wanted the ability to say, I wanted to quit my job. I worked in corporate America. I learned a lot. I always tell people, wherever you are, be where your feet are. Learn from where you at. Learn from the people that you're around. But I knew I wanted to quit my job. So I bought a couple little properties, and I knew I could start another business if I could pay my mortgage and my car note. That was my goal. That's all I needed to get through was my mortgage and my car note. Everything else I could figure out.
Solid. 90 seconds in, without prompt, because we sat down and I did not prep him. The very first thing he mentioned was freedom. I wanted to be able to quit my job, control my time. That's freedom.
That's fact.
That's freedom, bro. But go ahead. I cut you off.
No problem. And almost 20 years later, I never went back to corporate America. You know, I knew that at that point, if I had to go back, I was a black man. I had my degree.
Yeah.
I was the youngest African-American branch manager at HSBC from here to New York City. Somebody was going to rehire me if this thing didn't work out.
For sure. So you took a chance on yourself.
100%. 100%. So I had recently gotten married, and I was like, well, you know, we outside.
No doubt.
But yeah, that was my reasoning. That was my why, so that I could try and do other things and you know, just have some freedom.
So how many you said you bought a couple houses, like 1, 2, like how many?
At that time I had 2.
Okay.
I had 2 doubles.
Okay.
Literally, I had 2 doubles. At the time in Buffalo, you know, in 08.
Yeah.
It was a lot cheaper to get it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I tell people now you get a lot more of a return either way. The houses cost more, but they're worth more.
Absolutely.
The rents are triple, quadruple what they were when I got
when you
the
first
game.
started.
So,
So you had the courage of your conviction to jump out there, but what about the finances of it? So if I'm listening to this podcast and you bought 2 joints, do I look to start with 2? Do I buy a duplex? Like, how do, you know what I mean? Because everybody might not have the startup capital. So what's your advice on that?
There is a million programs. There's a million programs out there. The first house I bought, I was on the first home buyers club. Literally, I'm regular degular. Went to the bank, went to the loan officer. Yeah. They taught me what to do. I had to take a program for 10 months. They gave me a portion of my down payment in closing. That's how I personally got started.
Nice.
That was a single family home, but at this point, what I would advise people to do not start with less than a double up to a 4-unit.
I love that.
You can buy a up to a 4-unit property and it still be considered where you don't have to be commercial.
For sure.
You can get that and you live in one,
for sure.
Rent out the rest. You got to live there maybe 2 years or so, a year or 2 years, whatever the criteria is now. But that'll get you right on your journey and you can find them. Just don't tell people.
So you know the why behind what you said. You just say it naturally because you have the experience.
Right.
But why not buy a single and why buy a double for my first joint?
Okay. So I say, why not buy a single? Because the 3 other rents or 2 other rents or whatever you're going to get are going to pay for your mortgage.
Absolutely.
So that's your first step in being financially free.
Absolutely.
If your mortgage is $1,000, but you're getting $4,000 a month, do the math. That's real easy.
Absolutely.
It don't have to be difficult.
Absolutely.
So that's why you start that way. Even if it's a double, you can't afford a larger unit, get you a double. Get you a great tenant. There are there's millions of dollars. And there's tons of programs that help with down payment assistance. There's all the assistance for the tenants also. I don't care if it's veterans housing or reentry programs. There, Belmont, Section 8. Take advantage of those things, especially in New York State.
For sure.
Because in New York State, we get a lot more bang for our buck for our housing.
So does that mean then when I go looking for a house, because the purchase of a house, especially my first house, is a very emotional driven purchase. So are you saying that I need to divorce myself from the emotions of it to start building that future life for freedom?
100%.
Okay.
If you do not think about a 5 or 10 year plan, you'll always make decisions based on emotion. That's not something that people like to hear. Oh, well, my kids, my family, I understand that. But if you can say 18 months, we're going to flip out of this and get into something else.
Absolutely.
But the rent is going to pay for this next mortgage of where we want to live, wherever that may be.
Absolutely.
So you have to take the emotions out of it. It's just like business. It is a business, and you have to take the emotions out of business.
I agree. I totally agree. I'm glad we agreed on that. Because my follow-up point was, I always say, whether going to buy a car, buy a house, the golden rule is don't fall in love.
Facts.
Not supposed to fall in love. Now, I might fall in love with the numbers and the ROI on this thing, but I'm not falling in love with the property.
Right.
So let's talk about like scaling, because you got units. I know you got units now, right?
We got a couple.
You might be a little humble about it, but I know you have units. Like, talk to me how you go from where you started the 2 to where you are now. And if you want to say how many, cool, it's up to you. But how did you scale? How did you get from the number you started with the vision that you had that you just talked about to where you are today?
You have to be creative. So one thing I tell people is, who should tell you no? Nobody should be able to tell you no. So if you want to use regular bank financing, that's great. Some people have that. You can go to different owners, find out how much they need for a down payment, take over a house that may have some issues with it so that you can start your real estate journey. Also, partner with the right people. If you have the money and they have the time, or vice versa, partner with those people. But there are multiple ways. There are secondary banks. There are hard money lenders. You need to be a little bit more experienced before you get involved with hard money lenders and taking people's money. And people love to say OPM, other people's money. But when you get involved with other people's money, don't forget it's a business, and they will snatch that property back.
Talk about that. Talk about hard money lending, because it's not. It's not to be played around with.
Not at all.
And people automatically default to the mob and money under the table, a whole different scenario than what hard money lending is. But talk about it.
Long story short, hard money lending is you can go to a secondary place that's not a bank, and they'll give you money to purchase a property. But they are very, very on top of their paperwork. And if you don't pay them back, they will take your property, and you're going to be sad.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, they'll say, hey, we'll give you 70%. You come in with 30% or whatever the number may be. But they're going to hit you for points, which is interest, and they're going to hit you with also a high rate. So 10, 12, 15%. But it can be worth it as you get later in your real estate journey. I wouldn't start off that way. I would start off with all the potential programs that all the little banks offer. And one thing I do want to clarify is a lot of those programs are not just for urban or any inner city units. It's based on the amount of money that a different community makes. So we're in Buffalo, of course, and with us being in Buffalo, you can get units in Amherst and think, oh, well, I could never take my first-time home buyers club money and use it there. Yes, you can.
Nice.
So I want to make sure people don't just kind of pigeonhole themselves and say, oh, well, I can't use it there, or they're gonna make me buy in a neighborhood I don't want to. Explore before you make a decision.
For sure. So I should look at all the options I have from a first-time home buyer, grants, or whatever it may be, before I get into hard money lending, because I should get some level of sophistication and understanding about the game of real estate before I start talking to individuals who are going to give me hard money loans.
100%. So in the development world, we also do rehab in the development. We work with the county. We do affordable housing. That's part of the portfolio. They call it a capital stack. And that's all you're doing is a capital stack. You're taking the down payment you have, the assistance you can get, another program that you can get, and stack those on top of each other to get to your goal. So don't just settle. Just take a little time, do a little research, Google. Don't use your phone just for entertainment.
No doubt. I respect
use your phone to learn and grow and watch some of the right things to get you where you're trying to go.
Don't use your phone just for entertainment. I want to tease out something else you said. You said it real quick, but it's something that I say as well. And I want to know more about what it means for you.
Okay.
You said don't just take no, right? So I believe that when I go to pitch or whatever is going on, if someone tells me no, it's really a maybe.
Right.
Or if it's a hard no, then that means you're just not ready to get money with me, make money with me right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the world is a yes. I was actually on the phone with my broker and my investor, and they were asking the question about the building that's we're looking at buying, and one of the individuals said, well, is it for sale? And they said no. And then everybody looked back at me. I said, I don't why we stopped. Everything is for sale.
Right.
That's not a no.
Onward and upward.
Let's keep it pushing. But you said that. What does that mean to you? And what does that mean for you?
So years ago, me and my wife developed this "who gonna tell you no" kind of mantra.
I love it.
I was in corporate, or I was running my business, and she would leave little notes in my shoes or my coat pocket or something. And it would be like, "Who gonna tell you no?"
Love it.
And that's really where that mantra came from.
Love it.
One thing that I like to talk about and like to remind people: make sure you're in position so people don't tell you no. So people like to be like, "Oh, the man, they don't do this, they won't let me do that." What's your credit score? Have you looked at it? Do you know what it looks like? Do you know what it looks like to get this job? Don't just go in. Whatever you're trying to do, let's make sure we're in position. When people talk about financial freedom, generational wealth, and okay, what does that look like for real?
Absolutely.
How do you eat an elephant? Right. One bite at a time.
Absolutely.
So therefore, yes, who's gonna tell you no? But be in position so that you can remove as many variables away, so that they won't tell you no.
For sure. I love it. I also love the you don't boil the ocean, boil a pot of water first, right? You only gonna eat an elephant one bite at a time. Love that. Q's spitting already, y'all. Like we not even 20 minutes in, and he's spitting. So what advice would you give for individuals who are looking to get into the real estate game? They did a little bit of research.
Right.
They're not at ground zero. They got a little bit of money. They got their credit score up, and they are ready to rock, to grab an agent, an attorney. They're right on the cusp. They've made that mental shift that this is what I'm going to do. What's your advice for them?
I would say get with a mentor or someone who's doing it.
I like that.
But bring something to the table. Stop trying to just take everybody to coffee. People who are really doing business, be busy.
Absolutely.
And they don't have time to just talk to you every time you call.
Right.
My phone rings 27 times a day.
Yeah.
And but the people who I can see are serious, who are ready, who have eliminated a lot of those variables, I'm more willing to talk to them.
Absolutely.
So I would say get with somebody who's done it. Stop talking to your uncle who don't know what he's doing, or your man who keep telling you, oh man, I wouldn't do it because I lost when I did it.
Yeah.
You didn't do it. 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
So I would say get with somebody. First of all, do as much research as possible on your own, and then be ready to pull the trigger based on those things.
I love it. And I want to tease out something Q said that was key. He said, bring something to the table. You asking for this knowledge and this information that I have. you got to bring to me that you serious. Yeah. I'm a paraphrase and add to it. Bring the fact that you know your credit score, that you know how much money you have to invest, that you've studied the areas that you believe you want. Come with something tangible to someone who has that experience, so then they can help guide you through it. Q don't have time to sit there and help you map your vision. But if you got your vision lined out and ready, he can help fill in some of the holes. What does that look like for you from a mentorship perspective, Q?
So, for example, real estate agents come to me all the time. They come to me all the time. Hey, man,
for help or because
they want to do business.
They know you do. Okay,
they want to do business. So, one of the things I tell them is, all right, I'm going to give you my criteria for what it looks like to do business with me.
For sure.
I'm not going to the property the first time. I need you to understand what I need. I need you to walk through the property, and then I need you to report back to me and tell me, is this something that falls in line with what I'm looking for? I
love it.
Those are the type of things that you have to bring to the table.
Absolutely.
If you're trying to do business with people.
Absolutely.
If you think that, oh, is this a good project? I need as much information first so I can digest it quickly and move forward.
Yeah, so you're teaching people how to treat you.
I'm 100%. I'm teaching everybody.
You want to say something else? You chuckled like you want to say something else.
That's how we always moving at all times in any environment.
Yeah. Now, what response, like what type of response do you get back from those individuals? Like, it has to be an array. Like, I'm not working with him. He too cocky, or he's too strict, or like, what feedback do you get?
Sometimes people call me back, and sometimes people don't. I've noticed, but I mean, you're always, when you bring something to the table, there'll always be more people who want to do business with you. I do good business. I can close. I'm going to make sure everything is right. I can teach you something half the time along the deal.
Yeah.
So I have had people who be like, oh, man, it's too hard to go see the property twice. I'm out then. Like, what do you mean?
Right.
Difficult take a day, impossible takes a week. I don't understand any of that.
Absolutely.
I'm too busy to go see properties all day.
Absolutely.
That's not what I do.
That's what I'm talking
about. I also run a property management company. We have too much going on.
Yeah, it just
too
gets
much.
entirely too busy. What based off you doing so many units and buying, you don't have like I'm not gonna say you don't. Do you have like a specific set of like realtors or individuals that you work with all the time?
I do, but it doesn't mean the door is not open. To be totally honest, for example, I've been grooming my property manager. She went out, got her realtor's license. Now she'll be closing on a $500,000 deal.
For sure.
The people you bring, I believe the people that you bring with you should grow.
Love it.
So at the end of the day, now with the property management side also, as we bring in new people,
love it.
That's about to be her business.
Love it.
Like that's what she growing. That's
love it.
Now she'll be to change things for her kids.
Love it.
Those are the opportunities that if you get with the right people,
yes,
they should be opening that door.
Absolutely.
That's what you should be doing.
Absolutely.
Once you get to a certain level, that's what you should be doing.
Absolutely. I love that. That's we teaching individuals how to tie their own boots and pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. And if they don't have boots, we're teaching them how to get their own boots to then teach them how to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. That's rewind that and play that back again, because again, he real humble. So he talking real fast about some of the stuff he do, but think about what he just said. His property manager, even though he can work with other real estate agents, is getting, you say his or her? Her real estate license.
Got it.
So got the real estate license. So now, as opposed to that bread going outside the family, outside the company, it now goes to someone who they raised up. That's love, bro. And that's exactly what we need to do more of collectively.
Definitely.
Absolutely collectively. I'm a switch gears for a little bit and pose this question to you. Why real estate over the stock market? Let's have some fun.
So, for example, when you first started, you said tangible.
Yeah.
At the time, that's what I knew.
Yeah.
I knew it was tangible. One of the things that I like about real estate is it has so many options.
Yeah.
You can live in it. You can sell it. You can sublease it.
Yeah.
You can borrow off of it. You can wholesale it. You can flip it. So it gave so many.
You can do all the same with stock, though.
That is true.
Everything you name.
I know a little bit. A little bit about stock. I do have some holdings, you know what I mean? But real estate, my baby. That's what I roll with.
No doubt.
But those things is kind of what got me into it.
Yeah.
I wanted, and that's what I knew at the time.
Yeah.
That's what I had researched and learned about. And that's what I liked about it. I liked the different options that it offered across the board.
So I'm gonna push you to say more about it. And the reason is what neither one of us said. Me and Q we go back to high school. So similarly, we had the same trajectory. So I started in real estate and then I switched to the stock market. You started in real estate and become very successful in real estate. So first let me say, the reason I made the pivot is A, something you talked about, a mentor. And then B, it just no longer kind of fit what I wanted to do. I got tired of people calling me about toilets.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you calling me? Because you're my landlord. I got to figure out how I'm not your landlord anymore. But the point of this question, though, is what kept you steadfast on that point?
I'm going to say what kept me steadfast was I like it. Also, I'm going to be honest. I like the tangibility of it. I like building up a project. I enjoy riding by properties and being like, we got to get that grass cut over there because we're going to give people a great place to live, place to call their own, a place to have their Christmases and birthdays.
Love that.
It's like a ripple effect. All the people that you employ in different businesses and all the people that live in your houses or whatever the case may be, or apartment buildings, their life experiences are tied to those things. Their children are brought home to those things. They family, when they laugh, cry, happy, sad, they go to those places. So at the end of the day, if you remember me or not, because most people don't know, at this point, they don't know I'm their landlord. But it's still connected, and and that's important to me. So people are like, oh, well, generational wealth, or people are like, oh, well, I got a clogged toilet. No, they don't have my phone number.
No doubt.
Nobody's calling.
No doubt.
And if they are calling, there's a problem. But it's fun.
So I hear and feel not just a tangible asset, but you feel rewarded. You feel the gratitude. You feel the love and the give back based off what real estate does for you in your businesses for other people.
100%. There's a human effect there. There's a human effect to giving somebody a great, clean place to lay their heads and take care of their babies. Period.
I love that. Q left me absolutely defenseless with that point. Totally de-armed me because I was ready to battle between stock and real estate. But that's love, bro.
I'm being honest.
That's love, bro. That's. I don't think out of everybody I talk to on Expediting Change, just in the streets, just conversations, said anything like that. You've built a business that not only rewards and takes care of you and your family, but also is taking care of other individuals' families that are your tenants, but additionally, the individuals that work for you as well to be able to take care of their families based off the tangible asset that you're putting up or buying. That's. I'm gonna have to. We're gonna have to Expediting Change. We're gonna have to like cut that out, steal that joint, and then somehow flip that into the stock market. So my director of financial education is in the room, so I'm gonna charge him to start adding some bullet points into how we can flip that same narrative into the stock market. I absolutely love that, Q. You definitely, I was ready to go. I was ready to battle with you.
As soon as you said it, I was like, well, I got to be ready for this one. I don't like losing much now. I don't care what we talking about.
I'm still competitive, baby. McDonald's versus Burger King. I'm going to make my argument.
We got to go.
I'm going to make my argument. No, that's absolutely love, bro. So give me... Zero is no level of knowledge in the stock market. 5 is the highest level of knowledge in the stock market. So think about somewhere along that spectrum. Give me, I'm going to say in order of priority / importance, the 3 things that I need to do to be successful with real estate. And then pause on them because I want to ask you a question. I want to tease.
You might have to repeat that one a little bit. So 0 to 5
is so my 0 to 5 is a knowledge base because my listeners may be 0 where I don't own no property and I'm interested, but I'm still working on my credit score. To all the way to a 5 where I own a couple units and I'm moving, but I'm looking at my next venture, maybe going from residential to commercial. So that's the 0 to 5.
Okay.
But then give me 3 points of emphasis, 3 pieces of advice that you would recommend from that 0 to 5.
Okay, so I'm just choosing a person. So if a person is a 2, what would I think? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're a 2, I would say you have some knowledge. Maybe you have a property or 2.
Yeah.
You don't have you haven't quit your 9 to 5, whatever the case may be. So I would tell that person who's looking to leave their job or whatever the case may be that your job is your first investor. Do not
say that again, bro. Don't go by that. You keep going by good points too fast.
I talk fast sometimes.
Too fast. Say that again, bro.
Your job, your employer is your first investor.
Absolutely.
Let's not jump out and you watch too many YouTube videos. He told me to watch YouTube. And you get excited. And you leave what is your bread and butter. Before you are ready to get to those points, make sure that you look at what it looks like to be out in the wilderness. Because that's what I say. People be like, off the porch, it's the wilderness. You're your own business owner, whatever that looks like.
Absolutely.
So if you're that person that's a 2, I would say, don't leave your job right away. I would also say, make sure that you start partnering to make the next steps to become larger.
For sure.
Get all of your financial house in order first.
For sure.
Don't jump out there and you got 2, 3 car notes.
For sure.
When I kept the same car for 6 years at one point.
For sure.
Literally, I kept the same car.
For sure.
I was rocking. It was a Jag, but I was rocking. I was rolling. So make sure that you keep your financial house in order. Those would be 3 points that I would say. For anyone at that level, you need to do that.
Let me tease that first one out, because I'm sure my audience that hear me talk all the time, I'm very redundant and I'm okay with it. I say the same shit all the time, over and over and over again. But that point that I want to pull on that thread that you said, your bread and butter, and don't leave that job yet. There is this overcurrent. It's not an undercurrent of I'm stepping out and I'm building my own table.
Right.
Let's go. So everybody's jumping on this bandwagon on social media and everywhere else that, hey, I'm building my own table. What you just said was, it's okay to be at somebody else's table to start construction on your own table. No pun intended. We talking about real estate, not construction. So I just wanted to highlight that. That's a key point. Y'all hear me say this on my podcast over and over and over again. Y'all said it. Y'all now are hearing it from Q, who is extremely successful, and again being super humble about how many units and how successful he's been in the real estate game. The next thing was, how I hear it is, take an introspective look at yourself and where you really are.
Be honest.
No doubt.
Be honest.
No doubt.
Well, my student loans are deferred. They might not be forever. So let's make sure that we on top of things. A lot of people jump out here, and this is just my personal opinion.
For sure.
They jump out here and, they want to own their business. They talk about generational wealth, and they didn't got turned up and excited. And those same people, your kids suffer because you ain't going to work. Everybody living your dream. Everybody is affected by that. So we got a lot of kids who parents is trying to whatever they looking to do. Where if dad just go to work or mom just go to work, those years are never gotten back. So if you trying to pursue your dream for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, the kids suffer and they don't have as much as they would have.
For sure.
And you got to think about those things. To be really, truly honest with, those affect everybody around you.
Good point. Good point. So how you juggle that? How you make that decision?
I think that the decision has to be made collectively with yourself. If you have a spouse or a girlfriend or whatever your situation looks like, and you have to know the work that's involved.
For sure.
Yeah, that's it. Don't jump out here and sit at the house all day.
For sure.
Don't jump out here and sit on that game all day. For sure. Because now you can and you're gonna get to it tomorrow.
For sure.
You should be spending your waking hours generating income.
For sure.
The dollar should be working.
For sure.
The luxury items have to be dialed back. Everything should be going in that direction to get you where you want to get to. Nobody wants to, but if you don't, you'll always be either sitting in the same spot or talking about it like everybody else. I don't want to talk about LeBron and Mike no more. It's fun. I got my mans that I do talk about stuff like that with, but we need to be talking about having different conversations.
I agree.
Also,
I agree. I think you raised a really good point as well. We're in a culture, we're in a space right now where it's idealistic to get to the bag right now, and a function of that is to look good right now, and to have all of those luxury items. And you said, I was driving a Jag for 6 years, right? Like, individuals like, I'm not doing that. So some individuals aren't even interested in the sacrifice that it takes to be able to have hey, listen, I got to put this down for a minute. So therefore, I can then, with this delayed gratification, be able to just pop out on them. And honestly, I'm sure, as I have, you got friends, family that looked at it and said, hey, listen, you're driving this Jag for 6 years, but now you're driving whatever you're driving now. I'm sure something fly as hell. You ain't got to call it out. Who now say that you look at you like, oh, you're overnight success. I drove a Jag for 6 years.
Right.
Not an overnight success.
Not at all.
It took me a minute to get here.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think, actually, I won't even say I think, how do we teach more individuals to embrace and engage in that delayed gratification?
Great question. I think that has to be an individual choice. I think that they have to see the people who are doing it. And I think the people who are successful at this point have to be more transparent with the story. So when you see somebody on IG, when you see somebody, we have to be more transparent with the story of the things we went through to get there, because it's either going to discourage you or motivate you.
No doubt.
Like, oh man, it's not over. 99% of people are not overnight success. The NFL draft was just recently held. And with the draft being held, these boys, oh, they're millionaires overnight. No, they not, because since they was playing football at 7 years old.
Absolutely. That's the investment.
They've been working.
That's the investment.
And somebody's been working on them, working with them.
Yeah.
So, yes, they'll get some fruits of their labor tomorrow or whenever they sign that
Absolutely.
contract. But even if you have to make them look at it that way.
Yeah.
You have to give them something they can relate to understand. That's the best way to do it. Give them something to relate to that they can understand.
On that same note of identification of what that looks like, people don't talk about this as much, and I don't even know if I've ever asked this question on a podcast on Expediting Change before, but what are the characteristics, or however you want to define it, of who you would not work with? What things do you look at where I'm not touching them or that project with a 10-foot pole?
What's funny is I read a book and they were talking about, you have to be comfortable saying no to people.
Yeah.
And
even though we don't believe in no.
right.
Being told no.
Right. They just got to find somebody else who'll say yes.
Exactly.
It just won't be me.
More to the point.
All right. So there's a lot of people, projects that I won't work with.
Yeah.
Anybody, if I feel any integrity issues, if I feel any green-eyed bandit issues, because once I bring you in,
explain green-eyed bandit issues.
Jealousy.
Yeah.
Any jealousy issues, anything like that. Because once I bring you into the team, I feel like it's my responsibility to put you in positions to win.
To be successful.
So if I continue to put you in positions and I don't see you working hard, I'm already here.
Yeah.
I'm already at this point.
Absolutely.
So if I say, hey, you probably should go to this networking event. Hey, you should probably go to this counseling session. Hey, they're doing this down at this place, or you're not supporting the things that we're doing or growing, then I can't do business with you.
Respect that.
I'm definitely not greedy at all. And if I feel in any way you trying to get over, or you greedy, or you can't see a bigger picture, I won't even tell you I'm out. You just out.
I heard that.
This is the circle of trust.
Yeah.
You're outside of it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I don't even.
I love
too
that.
old.
I need a little of that, Q, because I'm gonna be like, yo, come in the office. You're fired. Get out of here. Done with you. You're off the project.
Now, don't get me wrong. If I'm working with them directly, and I ran another business for 15 years, and we had thousands of employees in that world. So I'll fire you. But a lot of times, I just won't engage anymore.
For sure.
I'm not answering the phone.
For sure.
And I'm bad with the phone.
For sure.
Sometimes it's not.
Anyway.
I'm bad with the phone.
Terrible.
So a lot of times it's not personal.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not bringing you to the table.
I respect
and
that.
I'm going to be at the table most of the time.
For sure.
So
plus, it's not worth your energy at
Not at
some
all.
point. It's not worth it. Slightly switching gears a little bit. You said this phrase a few times. What does generational wealth mean to you?
That's a good one. And I try not to use it too much, because I think we've gotten stuck on it, and people say it and they don't understand what it actually means. Generational wealth to me means expanding on and doing better than the generation before you. Let's not get so stuck on, oh, I wasn't able to leave my kids $1 million. Everybody wasn't able to do that.
For sure.
But did you pour in enough to your children or your family that maybe somebody went to college?
For sure.
Maybe somebody got a great job.
For sure.
Maybe dad and granddad went to jail, but junior didn't.
For sure.
So let's make sure that we're being realistic so it doesn't seem too far away.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to me to do it, to spark generational wealth is get some insurance. Let's do the basics. You might not have been able to do it their whole life or when they were kids.
Yeah.
Don't leave debt.
Yeah.
Don't leave the ability for a crowdfunding source to have to pay for your funeral.
For sure.
Let's make sure that we can just make sure we bury our people. Make sure you leave something for them kids and grandkids, especially them grandkids, because maybe they even have a better opportunity. But that's what that means to me. And I don't want people to get so stuck on, I couldn't leave them $1 million. Everybody can't do that. But everybody can leave a certain different level of wealth.
Yeah, so good answer. I was actually gonna go into my expediting change question, but I love your answer, so I gotta do a follow up on it because the answer was great. I appreciate it. Why don't you think that we, the culture, some of those underserved, now outside of those who just don't have the means, because that's obvious, but those who do have the means, the experience, the knowledge, a little bit of the money, why don't you think we do it?
I think it's a couple of reasons. I think there's a selfishness to it. A lot of people I've heard, they be like, I ain't leaving nothing. You put me in a box. It's not the point. You know what I mean? I think there's a selfishness across the board. I think that there's also a lack of accountability sometimes. And I think there's a lack of knowledge. So people think like, oh, well, I figured it out. Everything is not supposed to be bootstrapped.
That's right.
If I'm on the next level, then you should start here. That doesn't mean you skipping things and you don't have to learn the basics.
For sure.
But at the end of the day, my companies, hopefully my children will want to be involved in them, but they will learn how to start from this point and grow them. You need to bring something to the table. So people get too selfish about, well, I figured it out and I did it. But one thing I've learned is I can't pass my degree to my children. They got to do it themselves.
I love that.
They got to figure it out.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So
for sure.
Why not start them at the best place or family, friends, cousins? If you are the person who's been chosen by whatever you believe in to be the guy, to be the man in your family, it's your responsibility to teach everybody else.
Say that again, bro. Look in the camera and say that, bro.
If you the guy in your family, it's your responsibility to teach everybody else, period.
Love that.
Or the girl.
Or the girl.
Female.
Clean that up real quick. Clean that up. Guy or girl or whatever you identify as. Or whatever you identify as. My guy, love it. What the hot seat question? I have individuals on my podcast ask about all their experience. They tell me everything that they're doing, and then I ask them the question, what are they doing to expedite change? Oftentimes look at me like I just explained everything I'm doing to expedite change, but teasing it out specifically. So we know the state of the economy. We know the state of where we are as the culture. It shifts. There's ebbs and flows, obviously. Doesn't have to necessarily pertain to where we are right now, where there is period point blank market manipulation going on, period. But I digress. What are you, Q, what are you doing to expedite change for those that are underserved?
So I'm thinking like what you said your other guests think. I explained. No. So one of the things that I think that I'm personally doing to expedite change is I have a non-for-profit. Me and my guys, we do speed reading programs every summer. We have Kentucky Derby parties to finance those things. We do an entrepreneurs meetup. So at the end of the day, entrepreneurs that can meet with each other, but also people who are trying to be in those different fields can have an opportunity to interact with those people and just have banter.
For sure.
Another thing is I own Deco Lounge. Deco Lounge is an upscale cocktail lounge, Buffalo, New York, shameless plug. One thing we do there to expedite change is it's a very diverse lounge. And it shows that you can have a African-American owned business that caters to everyone, that is still has its integrity, and it's in downtown Buffalo, and I'm from here, and we have a diverse staff. So if you employ people, you're expediting change. If you give people the ability to interact with other people in different environments, you're expediting change. If you have speed reading programs and give back to children, you're expediting change. So that's my little 2 cents. I probably could keep going, in regards to how I feel I'm trying to expedite change in multiple areas. One of my newest ventures is I'm a minority owner in the Buffalo Pro Soccer team. So to see someone that looks like you, that is from your city, that can say, I am an owner in a professional sports league team is expediting change.
Fire. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I should have looked in the camera.
No, you should have. You should have. But you murdered it, man. And I also think what we don't do enough, as I've already said, we go all the way back to high school. What we don't do enough, public gratitude, bro. I appreciate you. I got crazy love for you.
Appreciate you.
I support you. I'm in your corner. I'm praying for you and your family.
Thank you.
And I'm proud of you, bro. And that is not on no weird trying to sun you.
No, I love you back.
Crazy stuff. No. That is what we need to do more often. Black man to black man, black people to black people, is support one another and publicly say that we appreciate each other and the work that you're doing. I see you. I honor you. I respect you, and you're doing a great job, man. You're doing an absolute great job. I appreciate you for coming on Expediting Change. Keep up the good work. And don't forget about my free box in that soccer stadium. We got it on camera now. I get a free box. Appreciate you, my guy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you also.
Absolutely. Man, listen. My guy Q came on here and murdered it. He had so many good nuggets. I don't even know where to start. And by now, if you listen to me, season 3, you know by now I don't write nothing down. I just listen to my guests, and then I recap what I believe are some of their most pointed and great points, right? Listen, one of the ones, as you even heard him be humble about the things that he is doing, because he's doing very, very, very good things. He even said the humility to have an introspective look into what's inside you and what you have. To me, that's multifactorial. It is the quantitative things based off of, do I have the credit score? Do I have the money? But it's also the qualitative things like, do I have the support from my family? Do I have the heart for this? Do I have the stomach for this? Don't just jump out there leaving a table that is paying you as the bread and butter that can finance the projects for the table that you're building to then be able to walk away if you choose, because if you can do both, get both bags. And yes, I said both. I know it's BOTH, but I said both. I got my gold teeth in. He said that out loud. We got to get away from some of this rhetoric that we hear from individuals on social media that are saying things that they actually aren't doing, and that's actually not the truth. That's the point of Expediting Change, to bring real people who are doing real things with financial education, supporting individuals for the positive progression of the culture. I appreciate you. This bag is for liberation. It's for freedom. We're not chasing capitalism and we're not chasing money. We are after freedom. This has been Expediting Change. I'm Shamar, your host, and I appreciate you.